The biggest reasons why business owners don't get started with content is they think it's too time consuming, they don't know where to start, and they don't know what kind of stuff to produce. So here are 4 different things that you can do to start producing content. Number 1 is, I call it the top 10. So find the top 10 questions or the top 10 objections that you consistently hear. The top 10, it could be the top 10 myths as well about your product or your services, and jot them down. Just jot down the top 10 questions that you get asked. And this isn't like a boring, frequently asked question, like short answers. This is like a little bit longer, a little more informative. Figure out what those questions are, and chances are you probably have a lot of things that you answer on an ongoing basis that you have to educate your customer or consumer on, right? So figure out what those are and start create little blog posts or little videos on those top 10. The second thing, kind of along the lines of that, is on your day-to-day, whether it's your salespeople, your customer service reps, or yourself, you're going about the day, and if you talk to a customer, you're probably gonna answer a couple of questions, or you're probably kind of repeating information over and over again. So whenever somebody emails you a question or somebody's asked you something, try to see if you can put that together in a quick video or a quick blog post. That way you start creating a resource and a resource library where when somebody asks you that same question, instead of spending 15 to 30 minutes explaining that question or that answer, that objection, you just shoot them a video about that particular question that they ask you, right? So now you save your staff a lot of time. Think about it. If it takes you 15 minutes to answer a question, you get asked that 10 times a month, right? It can save you a lot of time. And it'll also save you money because you're not paying somebody to answer those questions. The third thing you can do is to showcase your customers, to showcase past clients, past testimonials, things that have worked for them, their stories, because chances are there are a lot of people like that one customer that you have, and they'll be able to relate to them. They'll be able to relate to their stories, their struggle, even though if it's the same product or the same service. There's different use cases for that product or that service. So if you showcase, and you've heard them, it's like, Susie had a problem, Susie did this, right? And it's like, you see these customers. Well, the reason people do that is because stories work, and it's better if it's a real life story about a real life customer that you've served, that you've helped. And that's a really good and quick way to produce content that's relevant to your audience. Especially if you're in a B2B space. If you're in a business, if you're selling to other businesses, chances are that business wants exposure. So they'll also feel like a superhero. They'll also feel like, oh, I have this rock star business that they're showcased me today, this week or this month in their content, their newsletter, whatever you put out. They can use that exposure as well. So now you create a raving fan through the service that you delivered. You are showcasing that business's business and trying to promote them. And you create more affinity with your market because, again, they tie into your story. The fourth thing is, and this is probably my favorite because it's helped us close a lot more deals because we're focusing on adding value, and that's creating free resources for people who aren't necessarily going to buy from us. To give you a good example, a business owner or a beginning entrepreneur comes, it's like maybe their first year in business, and they're like, hey, I need a website. I don't know how to build it myself. I don't know where to start. They've done some research and it's confusing as heck. But they're like, we only have 500 bucks, right? So we're probably not gonna be able to help them because we don't build websites for 500 bucks. Our websites are a lot more expensive. But instead of playing the ego card and saying, oh, well, we can't help you, you're broke, you don't have any money, instead of making them feel bad, I still wanna serve them because I'm not in the business of selling websites or selling these services. I'm in the business of helping other businesses grow and succeed. And because I understand that, I want to serve them and add value. Now, I'd love to sit there with them for an hour and explain how to go about building their own site, but that's just not feasible for me. So what I do instead is I already have these templated blueprints that I sent them, and I have a quick, 5-10 minute conversation. I kind of diagnose where we're at, and I say, hey, we're not probably the best fit, but I'm gonna create specifically for you a quick resource guide on how to do XYZ right. In this case, how to build your own website or your different options so that you can get a website for under 500 bucks. And this is a last resort usually for a sales call, especially if I know right away they don't have the budget. So first of all, I handle their objections and I make sure that it's not just a complaint or they don't value it. But the other thing is, a lot of times people won't know how much things cost, so they'll come with you with like budgets that aren't necessarily realistic. Like, oh, I only have like 100 bucks or 500 bucks or whatever for something that would probably cost several thousands of dollars. That's just because they don't know, they don't value it yet. So if you send them that resource, and I've done this multiple times, I send them this resource, and they go and try to figure it out on their own. Maybe they build their first website and it's okay, you know, for the first year. Once they start making more money, they've come back to us and say, hey, you know, we're ready for something a little bit better. Last time we were talking, you mentioned you could do this, that, and you could also do all these other different things for us. Can you help us? And now they have a budget for it. Now, instead of discounting my service and saying, yeah, I gotta have this deal, I gotta get this customer now, I create a raving fan for the future, for a year or 2, 3 down the road, that they come back and appreciate what you did. Remember, hey, this guy took some time to help me out. So that is a really great thing to do for either stuff that you offer that maybe you can't really afford to discount, or stuff that's in your vertical. If you're an accountant, and have some, you know, you can start answering questions of like what an S Corp or an LLC is or whatever, and you get asked those questions quite often, but you don't necessarily want to be doing that kind of work, right? You can create great resources, because that's a business owner. Once they become a business owner, they're going to need an accountant, right? So if you're their point of contact, if you're the expert in their mind, they're going to stick with you and they're going to come back to you. This has helped us exponentially reduce our sales cycle, create a lot of raving fans, and also shorten the amount of time that we spend with the customer. Once you have an asset, once you have these pieces of content, you can start automating some of that delivery in some sort of automated sequence, where depending on what they're looking for, they start getting a series of automated emails. Once you have this content created, you can use it over and over again to aid you in your sales cycle. Even if you're not getting thousands and thousands of views on YouTube or on your page, you can still use it on a one-by-one basis and still get great results, because now you have a business asset that you can leverage, right? You can, and that's time that you would have spent anyway answering those questions. So invest the time up front, create some of this content, start building yourself an asset, and later on you can automate a lot of that delivery. I'll shoot a different video on marketing automation, but you can do a lot of that stuff automated, right? The first thing though is get started. Start with the top 10 questions that you get asked. Second thing is, any question that you get asked, record a video, put it into a blog post. It becomes an asset. The third thing is showcase your customers, showcase their success story. The third thing is start creating these resources that you can send to potential prospects who may not be ready to buy. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this video. Did you know there's 28 million small businesses in the United States, but 22 million of them make under $45,000 a year gross? Now that sucks, which is why we created this channel, why we're shooting these videos, because we want to help more businesses succeed. The way you can do that, the way you can help us do that, is by commenting, liking, and subscribing. Also sharing this with another business owner, another entrepreneur who may find it helpful. Number 2 is leave us a comment. Let us know how this has helped you, or let us know what kind of videos you'd like to see. Hey, every month we're gonna be doing a free live training for you guys on marketing, sales, social media, really anything that's gonna help you grow your business. We're gonna be interviewing experts, we're gonna be bringing in the best people, other business owners, to share some of their best business advice and growth tips. So make sure you click the link and join us on our free live training.